Good Shabbos. One of the things that boggle the mind today is the fact that on the college campus there's so much anti-Semitism, and the administration supports it. When so many Jews, alumni of these campuses, give so much to them, how come? My simple reasoning for it is the fact that they get so many billions from Qatar, a nation that doesn't support us. And so, therefore, okay, whatever Jewish people give, very nice, but we're getting a lot more from them. This is indeed what Haman did. Haman, before asking Achashverosh to destroy the Jewish people, the king to destroy the Jews, he says, he wants to give him 10,000 kikar of silver. That's a amount of silver, a huge amount. And the commentaries tell us, Tosfos says, that this was corresponding to the half a shekel of the Jewish people. Makes a calculation that if a person in his lifetime gives 50 times half a shekel, let's say from the age of 20 to 70, that's 25 shekel. 25 shekel is called a mana. There's 60 mana in a kikar. He gave 10,000 kikar. 60 times that is 600,000. So the amount of half a shekels that a generation of Jews gave throughout their lifetime, Haman gave more than all of them, saying, hey, now you could get rid of the Jewish people. But what was this about a half a shekel? Why the half a shekel necessarily? So he was trying to get us in our underbelly. What do you mean? What does it mean? The brothers of Yosef sold him for what's called 20 silver pieces, which turns out to be 5 shekel. 5 shekel means that each of the 10 brothers who sold Yosef got a half a shekel. So they're ready to sell their brother for half a shekel. Haman comes to Achashverosh and says, there's a nation that's divided, that's spread out throughout your kingdom. And the Al-Shech HaKadosh says that what he means to say is they're divided, they're not united, we're going to be able to get them. How does he emphasize that? By the half a shekel. They're ready to sell their brother for half a shekel. That's what they sold their brother for. So they're not connected, they're not united to each other, we can get rid of them. This reason, when Esther comes to Mordecai, tells Mordecai, hey, how did he save the Jewish people? Gather them all together. And this is indeed what Mordecai was able to do, gather the Jewish people. We became united. That's how we were able to overcome Haman. So the half a shekel that the brothers of Yosef received represented the fact that we didn't understand that we're actually reliant on each other. Yosef, the brothers of Yosef thought, oh, who's this dreamer? Let's get rid of him. But they didn't realize that dreamer, he's the one who saved your life. And that's why we give a half a shekel, and the Torah mentions the term half a shekel, because a half a shekel represents the fact that me, without you, I'm only a half. In other words, we are a whole only if we're together with all the Jewish people. So this Shabbos, we read in the Torah this special section called Parsha Shkolim, where we read about the mitzvah of giving a half a shekel. Now, when Moshe Rabbeinu was told by Hashem that they should give the half a shekel, he's told, Zeh yitnu. This is what they should give. And the commentaries tell us that what does it mean? This is what they should give. Rashi springs it that Hashem shows Moshe a coin of fire, because Moshe had a difficult time understanding what this half a shekel is. So Hashem shows him a coin of fire. The question obviously is, what's so hard to understand what a half a shekel is? Show him a coin. If you have to show him the actual coin and finish. What's the coin of fire? So there's a beautiful explanation given as follows. Moshe had a problem. How am I going to get Jews to give? Put all our effort into making the money. How am I going to get them to give away hard-earned money? So Hashem says to Moshe, listen, it's like fire. What do you mean it's like fire? Fire, if you have a candle and you light another candle, the first candle doesn't lose anything. The fire is a substance in this world that doesn't dissipate when you add fire. When another candle is lit, then you have 2, and you light another, you'll have 4, etc. So you'll just add, you won't lose anything. It's fascinating that when the Torah in this week's portion tells us to give the half a shekel, it uses the term v'nosnu. V'nosnu, they shall give. The nosnu is a palindrome. It's read in both directions. Because when you give, you receive. That's what Hashem is telling Moshe. Don't worry about it. Tell the Jewish people it's like fire. They're not going to lose anything. Not only that, whatever they're going to give, then they're going to receive more. There's a great story that brings this concept out. There's a story of a fellow who came to the Chassidic master, Menachem Mendel of Rimanov. and he blessed him with wealth. And the person became not just wealthy, he became incredibly wealthy, a billionaire. And so the student of Mendel of Rimanov asks him, Naftali Rapshitzer asks Mendel of Rimanov, why, okay, you give him a blessing to be wealthy, it's fine, one thing, but why do you give him such a blessing that he becomes like such incredible wealth? One person, why? So he says, it's not me, I didn't do that. What happened is, I gave him a blessing to be wealthy. And then he started giving tzedakah without measure. So the tzedakah that he gave, that brought him the incredible wealth. But when Hashem saw that this guy could be trusted with money because he gives it to charity, so that brought him this intense and incredible amount of wealth for him. So it wasn't me who gave him that blessing, he gave the blessing to himself. Conversely, there's a story where this fellow had a shop, and he was a very he used to give 10% to charity, and he opened another shop until he actually opened many shops and became quite successful. And the amounts of 10% to charity then were significant, so he didn't want to give away all that money, and so he started cutting corners. Eventually, things went downhill for him. So he went to the rabbi and asked, what's going on? He says, it's simple. Hashem thought you'd be a trusted banker. He could use you to support all the poor people. So he gave you the money. When you started cutting down on the amount of charity you give, Hashem says, okay, I need to find another bank. You're not worth a banker that he could trust. So we always have to remember, number one, we have to be united. That's the message of Purim. That is why all the mitzvahs of Purim are associated with unity. We give gifts to friends, we give charity to the poor, we have to hear the Megillah in a community with lots of people, we have a Sudas Purim, a meal of Purim with lots of people. That's how we celebrate Purim. Purim is about strengthening our unity, because that's how we overcome the humans of our generation, of every generation. And therefore, there's never a time that we need it more than now. We need to be united. We need to give tzedakah and understand that is how we show our unity with each other, our care for each other. And may Hashem bring down the miracles, just like we had in the time of Purim, we'll have now with a complete victory, and indeed the revelation and the coming of Mashiach. Good Shabbos.